Hey crafty people! Welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Welcome back! It's time for another mystery craft. If you are new to my channel, what I did at the beginning of 2024 was I put a bunch of craft supplies on pieces of paper and put them in my Eeyore mug. And for each mystery craft, I go in and pull out the name of a product, and that's what I craft with. So let's see what we've got for today. Collage papers. Oh, that's kind of cool because I had an idea for the cover for my steampunk journal that was going to use the Tim Holtz collage papers. So perfect timing. That's fantastic. All right. So let me go grab my stuff and we'll get started on our mystery craft. All right, so I have gone ahead and done a little bit of prep work to hopefully speed this process along a little bit. I've pulled out some Tim Holtz collage paper, and it's on a long roll and it repeats, but I'm fine with that. And this is definitely not going to be wide enough for my journal cover. And I don't remember which one this is. If I can figure that out, I will leave it listed down below, but pretty much whatever kind of collage paper you might have, you can use for this project. I picked this one because I figured it'd go nicely for the steampunk journal I've got that I'm kind of working on. That one hasn't gotten as much love as the bee journals, which I finally finished, and the sewing journals, which are well on their way. But I am in the process of doing a steampunk journal, so that's going to be kind of the theme for this journal cover. I've cut comic book board down to, I have two pieces that are 9 by 6 and two pieces that are 5 3/4 by 8 3/4. These are going to be our inside cover pieces, so I'm going to set those aside for now. I also cut down two pieces that are 9 by 1 because I'm going to do a 1-inch spine on this one, and we're going to just work with one for now. I also grabbed some Amazon packaging paper in like a white color, because I want to use that to help attach my pieces together. So they're going to end up going on like this, and getting glued down. And then once I do that is when the collage paper is going to go on. But before we do that, I want to do some inking, because once we put the collage paper down, it's mostly going to disappear. Like the white areas aren't going to show up. You're just going to have the letters. So I want to have some inkiness on our background before we put down our collage paper. So I've pulled this paper out, and you know it, I'm going to pull out my distress inks, and it's going to be in my usual palette for this sort of thing, which is, find the right drawer. I'm going to grab some Salvaged Patina, Uncharted Mariner, tea dye, probably some vintage photo. I think for this one I may toss in some rusty Hinge. You'll see why later. And Scorched Timber. And then I'm going to pull out the oxides. We do a little rusty Hinge Distress Oxide, Uncharted Mariner, Salvaged Patina, because I got the Salvaged Patina finally. And I had Scorched Timber out on my desk. And my desk, I think, may have eaten it, or did I put it away? Either my desk ate it or I put it away. Oh, my desk ate it. It's right there. So those are the colors I'm going to use to do an inky background, and I'm going to speed this process up because you've seen me do it before. And it's basically, I'm going to smush ink onto my mat and dip my paper in and then dry it. So that's going to be the process. So let's get to that. And I'm doing two because I need one for the inside as well. Okay, since I made this taller than what my pieces are, I'm not all that worried about getting the edges completely inked. So now I'm just kind of checking to see if I've got enough, essentially enough ink on this. I need to do some more along the edge areas. So that's what we're gonna do now. And yeah, I decided to start dragging because I wanted this covered and not to be here all day doing it. Now I'm going to add some Scorched Timber, first distress ink, onto a block so I can basically stamp it on. And then I'll do some Distress Oxide, Scorched Timber. Let's pull in some of the Rusty Hinge. And this is the Distress Oxide. And I'm just going to put a little bit more Uncharted Mariner in. All right, I'm going to set this one aside and let it dry completely. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did to that one, to this one with the ink on the block. All right, and I'm going to set this one aside and let it dry completely. And then the next step will be we'll add it to our comic book board. So I'll be back when these are dry. Okay, so our pages are all dry, and they're not the prettiest backgrounds, but since my plan is to completely cover them with the collage paper, I just wanted color, not necessarily like really perfect backgrounds. So what we're going to do now is attach our pieces. And I hopefully cut this wide enough, which I'm not entirely sure. So I've got my first piece. This bit of layered up comic book board is about 1/4 of an inch wide. So that's what I'm doing for my spacing. And this piece. So I think the two. I think this piece is a little bit bigger. We're going to use the slightly bigger one because for the inside section, I've got the pieces are slightly narrower, and I'm going to do them individually probably. Okay. No need to worry about that just yet. So let's place these guys on this piece. I'm going to line everybody up properly. and this one's a little bit better than the other one size-wise. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a pencil and mark. You see what I'm doing? Yes, okay, I'm on screen. Where the pieces are going to go, which should make this a little bit easier for attaching. Possibly. We're gonna see. So I've got a plate and my Liquitex matte medium, which is what I like to use for these types of projects, and we're just going to glue our pieces of comic book board to our background paper as step one, and then we're going to cover it with the collage paper. Probably should start, well, you know, I can do it that way. I'm going to start it at the bottom. I'm going to put a decent amount on. And my inks are likely to run because this is a wet glue, but I am not worried about that. Of course, I did that and I realized I should have done more. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just layering some more glue on here. And then I'm gonna lay it down. Ooh, and have it go sliding everywhere because it's a wet glue, so it doesn't grab quite as fast. And I'm gonna flip over, smooth my paper down, and then go this way. And I'm not worried about it getting on my mat because it'll eventually peel off. Let me grab a paper towel and wipe it off so I don't get glue everywhere. And yes, I'm gonna get a little bit of warping, but that's okay because we can just lay it down under something heavy once we're done. All right, our next piece is gonna go here. And we're just gonna add a whole heck of a lot of glue. And then our last piece goes here. And again, let's try and make sure we keep everything straight. I'm gonna add a whole heck of a lot of glue. Now I'm going to come in and snip off the bits on the corner so that I can wrap this around. So I'm just taking a little bit off, leaving some at the edge there so that it'll actually cover the corner. And we're gonna wrap. And then I'm gonna set this aside to dry. I'm gonna grab another spatula to kind of serve to smush it down so that I'm not getting quite as much glue on my fingers. I have a feeling my spacing on the centerpiece is not as equidistant as I would like. Now, the reason we're leaving a gap, since I did not mention this before, is because we want to be able to have our spine, like our book, fold up and move. If they're too close together, that'll be an issue. This may be too far apart, but that's okay because I'm going to add fabric and more layers, and so that will solve any issues with how wobbly it seems right now. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more glue over here just because it's popping up. Then I'm gonna stick this under something heavy and let it dry completely so that we can move on to the next step with this glued down and everything dry. And so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna set this aside, but this is where we're at. So that's what the front's currently looking like, and I'm kind of happy with that. So I'll be back. I'm also probably gonna go ahead and cover these guys and the center strip with the second piece. I don't think you need to see me gluing again, but this one we'll probably end up doing as separate pieces so that because these are smaller, the idea was that they'll be attached inside with a border around, like so. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'll be back. So our piece is all dry. So our next step is we're gonna add the collage paper over top. And I am going to grab my big scissors. Oh, good, they're here. And just cut two pieces. And what I think I might do, given the size, it's repeating almost exactly on top of each other. And I don't want to have that happen. So we are gonna shift over and cut this piece so that we get some variation going on. And I'm gonna trim off the extra on this side. And I'll save this piece. And pretty much I'm gonna do exactly what I did for covering the base. I'm gonna add matte medium to our piece and glue this down and then wrap around on our edges. So let me grab that and get to gluing. Now I'm gonna go back over the top and do a layer on top. That's also gonna help with getting the tissue paper or the collage paper to disappear better, so that less of the whiteness is showing. And I am gonna overlap them a little bit. And I'm making sure I'm pressing it down into our gap between our spine and our front and back cover. All right, and I'm gonna flip it over, and again, I'm gonna trim the paper off along the corners, but I'm not gonna trim, first I'm gonna do it at an angle, and I'm not gonna cut all the way down because I wanna have a little bit of the paper left to cover my corners so that we don't have any exposed corners. All right, so there's what it's looking like. See, and aren't you glad we inked the background for it so that we got lovely inkiness going on? Now, I've got some spots. Ooh, that might need some more underneath. That, where the overlap is, more white's showing than in other spots. Let me just add a little more glue there. That should get it to disappear a little bit better. So I'm gonna set this aside to dry. I'm also gonna do the same thing to the pieces for the inside of the cover. And I'll be back once everything's covered and dry. Okay, so I went ahead and covered the two pieces for the inside, and this is all cut and covered. And I seem to have misplaced this centerpiece. And if you're noticing that my desk is a little different, I started filming this before I did the redo of my craft space floor, and I'm finishing it up after. So yeah, I will be doing a craft room tour, but as part of my redo, I covered my desk with some contact paper and a wood grain, so that's why it looks different. So these pieces are gonna go here. I've got to apparently redo the centerpiece because I have no idea where that went. And I do want to do some decorating on the front, but I'm going to save that for the next video. So I'm going to come back. Hopefully it's going to go up on Friday, but I'm still in the chaos of redoing my craft space, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get it filmed, edited, and posted for Friday, so there may not be a Friday video, in which case, apologies, but oh, life's been crazy. So next video, we're going to decorate the front of this, and then at some point in the future, we'll do the inside because I don't have the signatures ready for this, and I figured I'd go ahead and do a hidden spine on this one since I've got it set up for doing that. But that's what the inside pieces are gonna look like when they go on. And then there'll be a strip here and I'll use some fabric. So that will be a later video. And the next video should be decorating the front of this. Fingers crossed I'll be able to get it done and up this week. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me and happy crafting.